I'm delighted to be joined now by a man who served actually with my father, I have to say, for Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and was one of the few people outside the royal family to get to know her well. Major Colin Burgess, former equerry to the Queen Mother. Good morning, Colin.
Good morning.
We were just talking about our shared experiences. My father and you worked together many years at Clarence House. Very, very sad morning.
Really sad. I think clearly there's the national, international profile of the Queen. I think the thing that we shouldn't forget is the sort of deep sense of duty, but also humour and human factor with the Queen. She loved Scotland, she loved people, and had a deep sense of humour.
Well, we saw really recently, didn't we, with that wonderful little skit with Paddington Bear, and we finally found out what she kept in her handbag, and it turned out to be a marmalade sandwich.
Absolutely, and I don't think anyone can forget the parachuting into the Olympics.
Absolutely iconic.
Just awesome. You know, there are a ton of stories of people meeting the Queen, you know, and not recognising her. You know, there's lots of stories.
Isn't there that great story about her in a shop in Sandringham or Balmoral or something? And the woman said,
buy a cake.
Yeah, popped out to buy a cake, and the woman said, "Can I just say you look remarkably like the Queen?" She said, "Well, that's reassuring."
And one in Scotland as well, which I'm sure you know, Colin, as well, where she was out walking wearing her headscarf, and some American tourists saw her and said, "How long have you lived here?" And she said, "Well, I've been coming for 80 years. And they said, "Oh, well, you must have met the Queen then." She said, "No, but he has," pointing to her bodyguard.
And they know what's wonderful is they don't ask the Queen to take the photograph of them with the Queen's bodyguard. And she said afterwards, "I can't wait for them to get home and find out."
Absolutely, and you know, she trained as a mechanic, of course, in the war, and drove her own Land Rovers around Balmoral, and so it was quite adamant that she would drive herself everywhere. In fact, she had Land Rover made for her. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but Land Rover, I'm going to say it anyway, Land Rover made a special version of Land Rover for her, which didn't have the alarm on the seatbelt, so she could drive around the estate without the seatbelt.
That's the Queen.
On.
It's interesting, you remember Prince Philip's funeral and that amazing Land Rover that he had made. He specifically designed for his own coffee. You obviously, in your time with the Queen Mother, will have met the Queen. And a lot of people this morning and over the next few days will talk about her as a person, as a mother, as this beacon. What do you think made her so, I'm going to use the word iconic, special to almost everybody she ever met?
Connection, emotional connection. She had the most amazing ability to make anyone feel at ease, and I think that's, in fact, that runs through the family really. And the Queen Mother was exceptional at making people feel at ease. The Queen, Her Majesty, was absolutely amazing. You know, she saw someone in a broken down car in Balmoral, again with her headscarf on, and said, "Oh, do you need a hand fixing that?"
And she could have done. Could you imagine telling that story today? The Queen once mended my car.
And probably could have. You know, this is the thing. Wonderful, wonderful sense of humour.
But we've only got to see that, I think, in recent years. She was a very reserved figure for so many years, and of course she was the first monarch who had, her coronation and weddings and things televised, and then those documentaries. I think it was Prince Philip that was more keen on these things happening, where we got to see behind the scenes. But what I'd like to hear from you is, we're talking about a woman who we, even if we've never met her, feel that we know, because she's the backdrop to our lives, to our nation. No one in this country could not know who she is, in the world could not know who she is. But we don't know her personally. For those who know her personally, for the family relationships and the relationships within the royal households, how would you think she will be remembered, as opposed to the public face that we see of her? Behind the scenes, how will she be remembered?
Very kind, very loving, devoted, not only to the country but to the family.
Gang.
An amazing, absolutely, an amazing sense of belonging, just making sure that everyone felt, included. Obviously, deeply missed by the nation. And as you say, it's very easy to feel that you kind of know someone when you've sort of seen someone on sort of TV, or you get to feel that you sort of know them. But the reality actually was the Queen. She showed that sort of human, that warmth everywhere.
And her love of animals, of course. I mean, Rupert, well, you know, you're not only, of course, our royal correspondent, you also cover racing for our sister station, talkSPORT. And I know that you've come across the Queen on many an occasion.
His brother trains.
Exactly.
Right,
I
yes.
mean, you know, let's face it,
He
she
had a
loves
runner for-
horses and dogs more than us lot.
Well, he had a runner for her yesterday. Sadly, it didn't win, but I know how much he enjoyed ringing her and talking, just shooting the breeze. I mean, it was as simple as that. Because all the royal trainers are allowed to sort of ring. They get given a number, and it's almost like, well, at the end of the day, here's a hotline through wherever you are. You could ring her.
So heads of state around the world.
But racehorse trainers and racehorse trainers.
Michael Bell straight through, Obama not so sure.
Yeah, basically, that would be about it. So Michael Stipe might have got first. It was the man who trained.
What did your brother Michael say about her? Interestingly, what Colin was saying as a person, Rupert, that sort of human touch that transcended everything.
It made him laugh, vice versa, and that's what she liked. If you made her laugh, she was happy. She didn't want you to be all sort of fawning and sort of over-respectful. Just treat her as a human being.
And yet we didn't see so much of that until recent years, when we saw her, you know, parachuting into the Olympic Games opening ceremony with James Bond. When did that change, where she became a less austere figure?
After the death of the Queen Mother, I think.
I'm really strong on this, actually, as a fervent royalist. I think she moved with the times. One of the things that the old man always said to me, and we've talked about this, is that the mystique of the royal family has gone, and the Queen was the epitome of mystique. We live in a different world now. You know, who would have thought the royal family would be on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and it's about information. Yesterday, the palace releasing that information about her being ill was almost a first, probably to avoid the online stuff that would have come out. But she sort of embraced it. But there was also, in the older days, much more of a mystique, wasn't there?
But even with the embracing, there was still a level of mystique. I mean, look at the Paddington sketch and the
Apparently
Olympics.
the family didn't even know she did.
It wasn't a send-up, and it was not at no stage were you sort of laughing at the Queen. It was a cool kind of, wow, look at that sort of moment. I remember years ago in Clarence House, what was referred to as the green room, which was the garden, having lunch with the Queen Mother, and asked her, you know, in error really, about if she watched the Dimbleby interview with the Prince of Wales, and she sort of looked back and said, you know, some things are best not spoken about, and that was a sort of double-edged. This
is the interesting thing in terms of what she's weathered, and that's one of the reasons probably why she has weathered things. This whole never complain, never explain, that has been the mantra. We've seen a very different attitude from some of the younger royals today, perhaps not the day to go into that. But she has weathered all these storms. When we think about her annus horribilis, you know, Diana and Charles breaking up, Windsor Castle on fire, later Diana's death, and all the things that have happened since, is that actually there's never been a scandal about her. There has never been any questioning of her duty to the nation, of her doing her job, her turning up to her job during lockdown. I thought it was absolutely extraordinary. She was so keen to be on our TV screens. We were discussing on Piers Morgan's show last night. And all of us had exactly the same effect, which is goosebumps every time we hear those amazing words when she said, we will see our family again, our friends again, we will meet again. And it brings tears to people's eyes.